Just getting the slides up. Okay, well, we get that up. I'm introduce our next speaker. So Barbara Avella is a primary school teacher visiting us from Italy. And she's at the Istituto Comprensivo.
Comprensivo, a
You can do
comprehensive
it.
institute, a comprehensive institute in Rome, Italy.
Yes, and she is going to be talking about some work that you did in your class teaching AI,
yes.
right? So,
It's a small study, just preliminary results, but anyway.
all right. So,
Okay. Um, I will share with you this experience conducted with my class, made by 18 kids from different origin. They come from Italy, but also from Morocco and Peru and maybe Moldavia and other countries. Anyway, sorry, this is me. I'm just a scientists ambassador community for scientists for a science teacher in Europe. Anyway, uh, we know that for this century, the one important sorry, some skills the for kids are problem solving and critical thinking. And in Europe, the committee, the European Committee, published some documents directed to these skills to obtain these skills, and then we had the DCOMP 2.2, that is the framework for digital competencies for citizens in Europe for this century. Or in QR code you can find the original documents. Okay, but in Italy we faces educational disparities, severe disparities, and as you can see, there are differences from north and south, where kids and not kids, students that go out from school are lacking competencies. And so you can see in Sondrio, only 29 are lacking competencies. But in South, like in Crotone, this amount of 65% is very high competent, it's very important. And so the most important is that only 40–50% of students are able to solve problem in, of course, I said, are able to solve this problem. But as you can see, to solve a problem is important. You need to identify relevant data and interpretation, the words of the problem, and reasoning and choosing appropriate operation. And so I think that I would try how Socratic tutoring could improve the skills for these students. And Socratic tutoring is on Socratic dialogue that made a reflection, made the student reflect about the text and what is doing. And so I was thinking that I could stimulate reflection and promoting the critical thinking. I acted as an artisan, so I shaped technology with pedagogical care and fused traditions, Socratic and AI tutoring. Then, more the understanding it all, I design, calibrate, and adapt the activity for my kids. And this was the activity. I focused on the DCOMP 2.2 areas, that is formation, navigation, and evaluation and problem solving, just three. And this is the remarkable questions. The question, so can Socratic tutoring be effectively a scaffold the kids to the information literacy and foster, can also AI Socratic tutors foster critical uh, assessment skills. And the last one, if the Socratic AI improvement students' ability to break down and solve multi-step problem. And the methodology, okay. I can see that, I can see. Okay, this is a test, and with 18 students, as I say before. And anyway, they solve the problem, but the problem was exposed as narrative history. And then I know the limit is the number and the mathematical data. Anyway, I would try to explore this. In Europe, we have a problem about the data protection. And so I used AI with my own account, not kids. Use the and I created question sequences, and in real time I intervened with a responses divergence. Okay. First, okay, this is an example of a problem, and I try to enhance the index of readability because you know there's a difficult to understand text, and I think in Italy almost we touch the lowest level, and maybe enhance the index, the kids maybe pay more attention to the text. Okay, so I decided to transform the text, and this is analysis is made by Voyant tool. It's an app that we use. Okay, these are the three most important questions. And the first is the first line is for understand the problem, the text in a deep understanding, and then identify the path for the solution, and at last the calculation if applicable. Anyway, it's important for me they understand text and think about the path to solve the problem, no more. This is the flow of the work. So identify the problem text, and then use the AI to be able to resolve the problem. Okay. And this is the problem, and for you in English. And we choose a problem, one different problem, and this is an example, and then define the prompt for the AI tutor. And this, they acted in problem-based learning and cooperative learning, and at first individual approach, and then in a collaboration in small group, and the task was on narrative based, and this is Uncle Baby's vinyl. The vocabulary was complex, and the reward was for engage. And this is the analysis pre and post assessments to understand if was a change in the ability of the kids. And this is the tab that I use. And now some results. As you can see, this is for the DCamp 2.3, and this is the ability to extract data or understand the text. And in green before, and yellow as is for the last performance. And I have just one kid that is, I say, is not affected by any any kind of intervention, but all the most kids was improving their competences, and this is for the 2.3, and this is for the last another one item, and as you can see, some better performance, and this is the results and information data, and the students demonstrate improvement skills. This was most evident for one kid that is coming from Philippines, and is very, very, very smart for calculation and logic, but he doesn't understand Italian well. Anyway, we observed that it was more able to do it. And they reached the better results for the end of the school. And this is a generic global diagram, and this is the results for students. This is the discussion. Okay, the data are few. Anyway, we faces hard competencies for understand language and mathematics, and maybe this could be could be interesting analyze better this field, and it's it's very interesting that if you think about Sigma 2 of Bloom and Vygotsky, how this Socratic tutoring by AI could be scaffold and gently push for understand and solve problem. And the abilities is a mix from language, math, and logic. And we have to improve the language at first because problem solving is impossible if you don't understand the language. And the conclusion is, can Socratic tutoring be affecting development? Yes, I think so, but we need more evidence. And it foster critical assessment skills. Yes, but we need to test it more. And they shown a better results, sure. For my class, this obviously. This was a regulation about metacognitive paths, autonomy, and cross-disciplinary learning, because sometimes Italian language teacher are far away from math teacher. But if you, I try to put in match the results for resumes. How do you say resumes? Riassunti. When you take a text and short them, okay, resume, and problem solving. Often the results are similar. very similar. And is we tested was it was interesting alliance with the decomp 2.2 indicators and specific in 1.1, 1.3, and 5.3. It's real for data, extract data, understand test, and critical thinking. And this is my thought about future direction. And maybe enhance the number of kids could be useful. And this is for reference from the study. And this, I'm very happy to be here, but very emotional. Sorry. Anyway, I would like that on the QR code you can find all the material, all the documents, such as a metacognitive tab for that kids can use to trace the path. Okay.
Thank you very much, Barbara.
Okay.
We won't have time for questions, but please, if you have questions, find Barbara afterwards, and you can ask your questions. All right, so our next speaker is Ana Lucia Peluso, and she is teaching at the secondary level, right? So we heard primary level, secondary.
Yes, okay, thank you.
And now we'll get to hear maybe some contrasts.
Yeah,
Maybe? Take it over.
thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anna Lucia Peluso, and I am a teacher technology at a lower secondary school of Comprehensive Institute Ferraiolo Siani in Acerra, Naples, Italy. I am added professor to Marconi University in plant pathology, and I collaborate with the many educational associations such as Impara Digitale, Fondazione Mondo Digitale, and MIAS. I am here to show with you my innovative project, a word at the table is a case study of a multicultural education with artificial intelligence. So the project have different objectives, such as develop transversional skills and ethical and critical use of artificial intelligence, but also produce an authentic song around the themes of peace and diversity. The project origins by innovative challenge, fostering integration and inclusion in multicultural society. This is urgent in lower secondary school, where the critical use of artificial intelligence is a challenge for the teachers. But artificial intelligence offers new opportunities such as promote creativity, intercultural dialogue, and development of transversal skills, and moreover is an important tools to personalizing learning and amplify student communication potentials. In particular, Okay, the project emphasizes how the knowledge and respect for culture is the way to see diversity as an opportunity for personal and social growth. And in this way, we can build the peaceful society. And only this kind of society can safeguard the environment and its biodiversity. For these goals of the project are to be active citizen, to have sense of the initiative, and to be able to express ourselves efficaciously in mother language, and understood planning and organization of Owen's work, connect knowledge acquired in different contexts, critically interpret information, and promoting mindful and transversal learning, cooperate and collaborate, and recognize the ethical principle of society for life by preserving and respecting freedoms and democracy. So the aim of the project are foster inclusion and more a greater participation in lesson, co-creation of song by using digital tools and generative artificial intelligence, valuation of the cultural diversity started from the typical recipes of their country of origin, of the student, and promoting digital security and internet and GenAI accessibility, and enhance the emotional and social skills is indicated in the Italian guideline of MIAS, that is the manifesto of generative artificial intelligence at school. A word at the table was conducted in a class composed by 17 students, included three with disabilities in learning, one with dyslexia, and one with special educational needs related to social-cultural disadvantage. The major part of the students showed low motivation, and the use of digital technology is limited to leisure activities. Students living in a neighborhood of the city characterized by the lack of educational and social space other than schools and Catholic Church, and the major part of the social economic background is low middle class. The class was characterized from by strong multicultural presence. The country of origin of the student were Belarus, Ukraine, Serbia, Albania, other than Italy, Morocco, Brazil, and China. The family were actively involved in preparation, sharing of typical recipes, and the biotechnology were always used under teacher supervision, and transformed the approach to learning. In particular, the use of Gen AI tools took place exclusively via the PPC and account of the teacher, MI, and ensured the internet safety of minor under 14 years of age in according to Italian and European laws. The award at the table was conducted by a methodology that combined cooperative learning and choir-based science education guided by teacher. And students were divided in a heterogeneous group of 4-5 members with defined rules. Activities and documents were managed by Google Classroom. As indicated in the file of IBSE, the students were engaged by reading a different but equal book of Giunti Kid publisher, introducing the theme of a meeting of different culture through multicultural festival. A Mentimeter brainstorming helped the student to highlight the word related to diversity, such as respect, acceptation, inclusion, and friendship. With these words, student research parallels between class diversity and cultural festival, and using a notebook LM tutor, they can learn the results of intercultural historical research about countries and their typical dishes. Moreover, they geolocalize the origin site of some typical ingredients and can reflect on how the food can be a bridge for intercultural dialogue through it can be help others people to know the diverse country by smells, colors, flowers, uses, traditions, and culture of an country. Through using a dialogue of tutor with the tutor, notebook LM, student can be reflected to how the common ingredient can be build civil life in peace, and how the peaceful society can improve the social economic condition of the people. So students summarize what those learning by drawing or online image, and organize a multicultural festival with family, but no teacher, and sharing traditional dishes such Bajrik from Albania, Drainiki from Belarus, Feijoada from Brazil, Tangyuan from China, Struffoli Rococo and Endivia Pizza from Italia, Elasida from Morocco, Cevapi from Serbia, and Vareniki from Ukraine. In order to socialize their discoveries, students create the song focused on the sensation from different food could be building inclusive community. They create AI prompt for ChatGPT on values of cultural diversity, family memories, and all type of symbol of the place related to the dishes, typical dishes. When ChatGPT can be worked in looped, students refine lyrics with Gemini, Copilot, DeepSec used in tandem to improve metric, textual coherence, musically rhythm, and to adapt the lyric to adolescent language. This is the text traduced in English, but the music was created on Suno with arranged in the rap, hip pop, and jazz styles, and this is the result.
La pace si costruisce giorno per giorno, con rispetto e cultura tutto intorno. Le guerre non servono a nessuno, il dialogo è la chiave per essere uno. La tecnologia ci può aiutare, se la usiamo insieme per comunicare. Dalla storia antica fino a qua, ogni popolo porta la sua verità. Le ricette raccontano la nostra identità, nei convivi costruiamo libere comunità. Nelle nostre classi usi e culture diverse creano un mosaico di storie diverse. I nostri cibi si mescolano insieme come note di brani di musica d'insieme. Tocchiandoci a storia e tecnologia, abbiamo capito che con società in pace il mondo è pulito. Da Cerra a Pechino, tradizioni d'oro, ogni cultura porta il suo tesoro. Dall'Albania al Brasile la cucina più di 1000 parole, condividendo piatti sotto lo stesso sole. Dai Balcani all'Asia un viaggio d'amore, tutti insieme, nessun dolore. In Serbia c'è Vapi, che bontà, con Aivare e Caima tutti a gustare. In Ucraina i vareniki una magia, con patate o ciliegie una leccornia.
Where is the present?
Nelle nostre classi culture diverse creano.
So this is the song, and after okay, it's okay. No, the song were translated in sheet music by Clanjo AI, and the fidelity of transcription, accuracy of transcription were tested by reproducing the music, reading the sheet music. The image of traditional recipes were transformed in a 3D model by using a triple 3D AI, and this is the prototype, but we not able to print 3D print those. Evaluation of the project included continuous observation by teacher of the student during the work by using skill guide, and included metacognitive reflection using learning diaries and self-assessment forms. We assessed the disciplinary transversional competence, digital, emotional, social, soft skill, critical thinking, efficacy in communication, and capacity to teamwork, and enhancement of intelligible cultural heritage and community cohesion. Indicators were shared with the student and were participation, text quality, cultural integration, conscious use of digital tools, respect of the deadlines, and the ability in the problem setting and solving, and teamwork. Okay. The table at the word at the table achieved several results. In fact, students encouraged reflection on concept of diversity and inclusion, evaluating cultural, social, and environment dimension, themes such peace, respect, and environmental protection. Notably, best creative and reflective contribution came from the student with learning disabilities and special educational need. Who found an opportunity to express themselves through music and collaboration. Moreover, students realized that the food have a great power because is a cultural symbol expressing identity, history, and tradition, but also evoking nostalgia, a sense of belonging. Moreover, they considering that the migration in the past mixed the food ingredient and create new societies, and so the family involvement is crucial because create a moment of genuine listening where diversity was celebrated. Moreover, students understood that to build peaceful society is urgent in this time, and only peaceful society can be protect the environment and the disease can be by prevent the wars, conflict that undermine biodiversity. With the project, we noted the enhanced linguistic skills in the student, both creativity and social collaboration, increased engagement. The work at the table showed a interdisciplinary integration across subjects such as technology, Italian, geohistory, music, art, and image. Genai was used in all the creative process by creating a prompt to music production, and the educational and cultural objectives were those of the European Camp education, the Italian guideline STEM teaching, Italian guideline orientation, and goals of 2030 agenda. Moreover, the project can reduce the school dropout and contribute in creating cohesive school community that serving as a model to build society in peace. In conclusion, the project can be adapted to different schools and social contexts because food is a universal aspect of daily life of everyone. In the future, we can integrate a chatbot tutor during the brainstorming and lyric writing phase, allow the student to express their idea without the peer judgment, and we integrate collaborative discussion by using AI gamification activities in as I am experimenting in a work with the Italian Fondazione Mondo Digitale. Thank you for your attention, and I am happy to answer any question you may have for me.